Hello and welcome back to a very special edition of the Jacob and Jacob podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pear. As always, joined by my co-host, Jacob Robam. And on the phone, we have one of the greatest players in NFL history and one of the greatest head coaches in NFL history, Mike Ditka. Mike, thank you so much for joining us today.
You bet. My pleasure.
All right, so Mike, as two Philadelphians who are diehard Eagles fans, what was it like getting a chance to be an Eagle?
Well, I liked the Eagles as a kid. My favorite player was Steve Van Buren, so it was no problem. When I got traded for the Eagles, that was never a problem. We weren't very good for that number of years. I was then my career was basically over, and I got traded to Dallas, and it really resurrected my career. But I enjoyed my time in Philadelphia. We had a bad team. We weren't very good. And it wasn't the coach's fault. It was our fault, the players. We didn't perform.
So let's talk about your coaching career a little bit. So, of course, you were the head coach of the Super Bowl champion '85 Bears, who many think is the best team in the history of the NFL. Was there ever a moment of realization, either before the season or sort of maybe in the middle of the season, that this team was going to be something really special?
Well, I mean, those are special guys. You know, I had a great Buddy Ryan ran the defense. I didn't run the defense. Buddy ran the defense. All we did was we picked the players. He coached the defense. Whatever he wanted to do, he did. I had nothing to say about it. I ran the offense. My job was to take care of the ball, protect it, run the take time off the clock, score points. That's what we try to do. Buddy coached the defense. Fantastic job. He was one of the best defensive coaches in the history of the game.
So, as a head coach, you prepared for a Super Bowl. What was it like preparing for a Super Bowl, and what does the preparation look like?
Well, it was really no different than what we did the week before when we prepared for the playoffs. I mean, we prepare the same way every week. I think it's important you get your players ready to understand what you got to do and when you got to do it. And we prepare that way for every game. So the Super Bowl was not much different. The only problem with the Super Bowl is you got a lot of distractions because now you're down in we would have to be in New Orleans, but there's a lot of things going on, and it's hard to keep the players focused on what the job is, which is the football game. I mean, there's all kind of things going on, and people are trying to get their attention and get them to do things. So it becomes a little tough. We shut them down about 3 nights before I let them go out until 3 nights before we shut them down, and we were ready to play. And the score indicates we were ready to play. Our defense was outstanding.
Going into the game, did your team know that you guys were going to win the game?
Pardon?
Going into the Super Bowl.
I think you got to be positive. So I thought we were the best team. I thought we were going to win the game, but I didn't think the score would be what it was. So, but that's just the way it went. Our defense was everybody was unbelievable. I mean, they just stifled the other team, and all we had to do on offense was don't make mistakes. We'll be all right, and we did. We played well.
And on that Super Bowl team, you had one of the greatest running backs in NFL history in Walter Payton. What was it like getting a chance to coach Walter, and what were some of the abilities that made him so special?
Well, he had a relentless pursuit of excellence. I mean, he wanted to be the best. He wasn't the fastest guy. He wasn't the biggest guy, but he was the best football player I've ever seen. When you ask him to catch the ball, he caught it. We had to run when he ran. You ask him to block for Matt Stewie, he blocked. He did everything. And he was just a special individual and one of the all-time great players ever played in the league.
So continuing on with your coaching career, in 1997, you took the Saints job. Why did you decide to take that job?
Well, it was an opportunity, and I had these dreams that we could make it happen again. I really did. And they weren't good dreams, evidently, because we weren't very good. And I take the blame for that. Nobody else. We just weren't very good. We had a chance to draft some people, and we just didn't do a good job with it. So New Orleans thing didn't work out for me, but it wasn't anybody's fault but mine.
So during your time as the head coach in New Orleans, there was the famous trade for Ricky Williams. What made Ricky Williams so special that you saw him as a franchise-altering player?
Well, I thought he was the best college football player I saw. Great. In the draft that year, I thought he was the best college football player. I thought what we could do if we could get a player like Ricky and build on him, we get the fans involved, we get our offense and defense involved. I thought we could really make good things happen. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. I don't regret it one bit. I love Ricky Williams. He was a great football player, but he had some other problems. But he was a good football player.
And here's a tough question for you. What was the hardest decision you had to make as a head coach, either with the Saints or the Bears?
I think the hardest decisions are when you have to cut people.
Mm-hmm.
When they go through training camp with you and they work their butt off, and all of a sudden you can't keep everybody. And some of those people, you really like them a lot. You just can't keep them. And when you cut people, that's the hardest thing I had to do as a coach was when I had to cut people. I hated it. Because those guys busted their butt.
Was there ever a player that you had to cut, and then maybe a few weeks after or later in that season you regret cutting them?
Yeah, I think there were some that I cut and brought back too, but I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time, but I know that listen, no coach likes to cut players. These guys bust their butts. I mean, they're hospital. They do everything in training camp. But through the training camp, the preseason, and they're ready to play, and all of a sudden the opportunity is taken away from them because you got somebody that might be a little better.
So, as a former player yourself who played tight end, how has the tight end position changed from when you were a player in the NFL?
Well, it's more a receiver's position. I mean, it really is. I mean, when we played, we really were called on to block a lot as much as we were catching the ball. Actually, John Mackey and myself were really the first two to start catching a lot of passes. But yeah, I think it was really it was just kind of another guy on the end of the line. And listen, nobody threw the ball to the tight end. It started with Mackey and myself, and it was the same time, and they started throwing the ball to the tight end. Why? Because actually you had one of the weakest defenders covering you. And so that's just what it was. And so I had a quarterback who loved me, loved to throw the ball to me. His name was Bill Wade, and he threw the ball to me. And my rookie year, I mean, it was unheard of. I caught 60-some balls or something. It was crazy. But that was not me. That was Bill Wade.
So I guess he gets the credit for your unbelievable rookie season.
He does. He really does. And the coach, too. Luke Johnson was the offensive coordinator. And whatever he saw in me, he saw, and he designed a lot of plays for me.
So following up your incredible playing career and coaching career, you were inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. What was it like in the moment when you found out that you were going to Canton?
Well, it's something you don't play the game to get in the Hall of Fame, but it's really the ultimate icing on the cake. If you're good enough to get into the Hall of Fame, it's very special, and you ought to be very proud, and I am very proud of that. It's not my whole life, but I'm very proud of that. I'm just as proud of the '63 championship and the '85 championship. Those are very special times for me as a player and a coach.
Was it better to win as a player or as a coach?
Well, I think as a player, it's special. But as a coach, it's more special because you're really responsible for more people. And I think it was more I enjoyed it. It was more special as a coach.
All right. So let's move into some politics. So you received some backlash for some comments you made about kneeling during the National Anthem over the past couple of seasons, and you've been very vocal. And you've been very vocal that playing football is a privilege and that it's not a platform for protesting. With the current social injustice in the country, what do you see as the best way for the players to use their fame to push for a better future for our country?
Well, whatever country do they play pro football in?
America.
None. We're the only country. If you have an opportunity to play the sport, make a lot of money, retire successfully, do it. Don't be a smarty. Just do what you got to do. Respect the game. Respect the game. The game was here longer than we were here. It was here before we were here. It'll be here after we're gone. Respect the game.
Well, Mike, we really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast, speak with us, and we wish you nothing but the best, and we really appreciate it. And be well and
Thank
have
you.
a great night.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.